Hey guys, and welcome to my final review for Game of Thrones Season 7, exploring Episode 7, The Dragon and the Wolf. Well, that was pretty amazing. Overall, I liked the episode, though I had a few issues. But the final scene left me feeling super hyped for the next episode, then instantly disappointed when I realized it was like 2 years away. But right now, let's just jump right into it and get to my top 5 moments of the night. At number 5, there was the reunion between Sam and Bran, and their discussion about Jon Snow's true parentage. Seeing them discover the whole truth together was great, and intercutting it with the scene of Jon and Dany spending the night together really shows how complicated things are going to be. Because there's no way, at least in my opinion, that Jon Snow will be okay with sleeping with his aunt once he learns the truth. And while Daenerys might be willing to go along with it because of the traditions of her house, Jon was raised by Ned Stark, and I believe will choose to honor those values over the Targaryen ones. At number 4, I chose the meeting in the Dragon Pit. Seeing so many characters who hate each other so much and have spent so much time apart all gathered together in one place seemed like a recipe for disaster. And while Jon Snow's unfortunate honesty nearly disrupted the talks, I was shocked to see it ended with no casualties. At number 3, there was the prelude to Clegane Bowl, when Sandor saw his brother at the meeting and confronted him, seeing the horrific changes that he'd gone through. Although Gregor can't respond, his younger brother makes it clear they will meet again someday, implying that Sandor will be the one to kill the Mountain once and for all. At the number 2 spot, I chose the moment that was very nearly my favorite of the episode. All along, I found it insane that Jon, Daenerys, and Tyrion would put their trust in Cersei. It seemed beyond obvious that she would betray them. And while I can't help but despise Cersei for everything that she's done, I also felt a great sense of satisfaction to hear that she was playing them all along. I thought it was ridiculous that Euron Greyjoy would flee so easily, but when Cersei revealed that it was all part of her plan, I couldn't help but smile. Then she mentions the Golden Company, and I can't wait to see them bring their war elephants across the Narrow Sea. The Blackfyre Rebellions are some of my favorite stories from the history of Westeros, and so I'll be really happy seeing the mercenary company founded by the Blackfyre supporter Aegor Rivers, who upon his death asked that his skull be dipped into gold and carried with them when they finally conquer Westeros. I also can't wait to see if they carry their banner of golden skulls, and to hear them say, "Beneath the gold, the bitter steel." At number 1, there was the final scene of the episode, where the army of the dead arrive at the wall, as the dragon Viserion shoots blue dragon fire to tear it down. I absolutely loved the look of the ice fire, and watching the wall finally fall after 7 seasons looked really impressive. For a while I thought maybe Tormund and Beric died when the wall came crashing down, but watching it again, it appears they made it to the other side in time before the eastern section of the wall fell. I was a little sad though that the scene went by so quickly. I thought the wall coming down would be more drawn out, but it looks like they're done with it. Now I'm guessing the remaining Night's Watch will have to try and make their way back to Winterfell, where the Westerosi armies are gathering. For the moment, it looks like the lands directly south of the wall, like Last Hearth, are probably going to get wiped out in the early part of next season. Now, as much as I liked the episode, there were a few parts I wasn't thrilled with, like the Mountain failing to protect Cersei when she was attacked by the White. He was right beside her but didn't throw himself between them. Definitely a fail on his part. Then there was pretty much everything that happened in Winterfell. None of this made any sense to me, none of it seemed properly built up. Peter Baelish is a guy who fought Brandon Stark in a duel to the death, and refused to beg for mercy even when he was about to be hacked to pieces. But somehow he immediately gets on his knees to beg for his life? It just did not seem like him at all. Everything about this seemed silly to me. Sansa, Arya, and Bran already had the information they presented against Littlefinger a long time ago. He betrayed their father, killed Lysa, and conspired against Jon Arryn. None of this was new information. All that was needed was for Bran to speak to his sisters. So why didn't they just have this conversation when Bran first arrived and immediately deal with Littlefinger? Instead, they had all this pointless drama between the siblings that ultimately led nowhere and killed Littlefinger, who should have never allowed himself to be surrounded by enemies in the first place. For the first half of this series, Littlefinger seemed like he was the smartest man in Westeros, a cunning mastermind creating an intricate web for his mighty ambitions. But by the end, he was just another incompetent schemer with no real long-term plan. Then there was Bran's vision of Rhaegar's marriage to Lyanna. As much as I disliked the Targaryens, and Rhaegar in particular, I enjoyed this scene, and didn't even mind that he looked almost identical to Viserys. I was, however, a bit surprised to hear Bran refer to Jon as a Sand, since that definitely would not have been Jon's last name, even if Ned wasn't his father. The name Sand does not apply to where you were born. It would only apply if at least one of Jon's parents were from Dorne, or if he was raised there. Even if Jon was still a bastard, his name would still be Snow, because he was raised in the north, or maybe Waters, because his father was from the Crown Lands, but it would not have been Sand. That aside, what really kind of ruined this scene for me was the revelation that Jon's real name was Aegon. Now don't get me wrong, I understand that Rhaegar probably didn't choose the name and his first son Aegon was already dead when Lyanna named her son. But in that moment, it just sounded so ridiculous that both of Rhaegar's sons were named Aegon. I couldn't help but picture a scene from one of my other favorite shows called Rick and Morty, when the father character Jerry announces, "I'm Mr. Crowbar, and this is my friend, who is also a crowbar." After that, I just started laughing out loud and couldn't really enjoy the scene as much as I wanted to. But even with those problems, I still loved the episode, and so I'll move on to the best kill of the night. And while I didn't like the setup or circumstances surrounding this death, I can't deny that Arya looked like a badass quickly slicing Littlefinger's throat and leaving him to bleed out and die in the home of the man he betrayed so many years earlier. The best line of the night goes to Cersei, who after the meeting with the Dragon Queen tells Jaime it was all a part of her plan, saying, "Do you really think Euron Greyjoy turned tail and sailed back to the Iron Islands? Do you think he abandoned the chance to marry the queen? No one walks away from me. He's sailing with his fleet to Essos. He's going to ferry the Golden Company back here to help us win the war for Westeros." Overall, I gave the episode a 9 out of 10, and as for the season as a whole, I ended up giving it an 8.5 for the amazing visuals and memorable moments, but couldn't score it higher because many parts of the storyline this season didn't really work for me that well. But what did you guys think of the episode and season overall? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and like always, check out the episode and season recaps I have in my channel playlists. It's going to be a long wait for the next season, so until then, why not check out the rest of my A Song of Ice and Fire content, as well as the other series I explore like Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, and Star Wars. Take care guys, and I will see you next season. A special thanks to all those who contribute to Civilization X, like First Spear Centurion, Aditya Goturu, Maester Hades of Skagos, and Nate Strong the Liberator. If you'd like to help the channel with a monthly donation, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to see more.